Yeah, sir, because the way Shafi understands Sunnah, for me, I trust to Shafi more than you. So if I leave Shafi, I will follow you. So this is the case. So this is ulama, we follow them, not just following them, but we follow them to follow the Sunnah of Rasulullah. Of course, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he didn't say follow Malik or follow Shafi or follow anyone. You have to follow right way. But his Quran, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, "Salu ahla zikri in kuntum la ta'lamun." Ask those who have knowledge if you don't know. So the mazahib before was many mazhab. But in the time of one of the Umara Mu'tasim Billah, people they start playing with the mazhab. So anybody have problem, he will go to the books and read. Any sheikh is easier for his case, and he claimed that I follow this sheikh. So that time Mu'tasim Billah said he will never use any mazhab except this for mazhab. But that does not mean only this for mazhab is mazhab. We follow Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We follow these people. We follow them because they follow Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Is it important to take a tariqa?
Yes. To have a sheikh, Shaykh Mahy Tijani himself, they asked him, if it's obligation to have a sheikh, he said, one sheikh is obligation to look for it. It's the sheikh that can teach you to know what is lawful and what is unlawful. So you have to have a sheikh who have to teach you how to pray, how to fast, how to make hajj, all what you need in your life, you have to learn to know it. But to have a sheikh for tarbiyah, that is, he said, is like if you say that sick person is obligation for him to go to see the doctor, what you say is true. But the sick person can say, no, I don't want to see doctor. That is up to him. So the sickness of the heart, if you want, cure this sickness, you have to follow the way of those people who know Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. That's what Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, وَاتَّبِعْ سَبِيلَ مَنْ أَنَابَ إِلَيَّ. Follow the way of those who go back to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. They are the Arifin Billah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. In all their actions, all what they do, they make sure they do what Allah loves. You follow them, you following Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and following Prophet is the sign of loving Allah. قُلْ إِن كُنتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ.
What is the importance of bay'ah?
It's the same question you ask, because bay'ah is take tariqa from a sheikh. What is bay'ah? It means that you have to respect the condition of the way. That is the bay'ah. It's important for somebody who wanna follow the way, but person who don't want to follow the way, that's happening.
How many times can you renew your bay'ah?
Renew your bay'ah, if you mean to renew your iman, you can renew it anytime. Because with what Prophet ﷺ said, Jaddidu imanakum, renew your iman. Sayyidi Ali, one time he wrote a letter to Shaykh Ibrahim, asking him to renew his tariqa and everything, all his secret. And Shaykh Ibrahim tell him, going with, based off this hadith, Jaddidu imanakum, I renew for you. He want to show him that he don't need that. If somebody don't need to renew his iman, but we need to renew our iman all the time. All what we doing, whenever they call azan, we remember that we are servant of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. We have to go to Allah, go back to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. All this is to renew our iman. So to renew your bay'ah is nothing except to make sure that your connection is right.
What does the fayda mean, or what is it?
The fayda, the word of fayda, if you mean the Arabic word, is flood. But the fayda Tijaniya has the meaning that Shaykh Ahmad Tijani, he mentioned in his tariqa that the fayda will come. He said the person will come and people they come to take the tariqa from different way. And it will come, the time will be very hard time. Of course, before the Fayda camp, people they was facing hardship to get to know Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. But when the Fayda come, Allah make everything easy, and people they come to embrace the tariqa and to enter to Islam, to increase their iman, to mention Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala day and night. Whenever you see them, man or woman, big or young, all of them, they hold to the deen and they love Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. This is, make it short, this is the Fayda. So it's flood of ma'rifah billahi Tabarak wa Ta'ala, so that will go everywhere. Will never wait for you to go to catch it, it will come to you and take you.
Is there different levels of zikr?
Of course, there is different level of zikr. Depend on your iman billahi Tabarak wa Ta'ala. We make zikr, sometimes you make zikr and your mind going everywhere. That is different from somebody who making zikr and concentrate on his zikr. Some people, they make zikr in their tongue, but they don't make it in their heart. You have to make it in your tongue, that is the beginning. That will carry you and lift you up. You get to able to mention Allah to your heart. That can lift you up. You get to mention Allah to your ruh. That can lift you up. You get to mention Allah in your sir. So that means you mention Allah in all the hadarat, you mentioning Allah. Shaykh Ibrahim radiallahu anhu, he had a dialogue between him and his secret, his sir. He said his secret, ask him, Ya Ibrahim, anta waliyullahi. Oh Ibrahim, are you wali of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala? He said, yes, I am a wali of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, because ودليلي على ذلك أني واليته بالذكر. He said, because I mentioned Allah سرا وروحا وقلبا وقالبا ووالاني بتيسير أموري المتعلقة بظاهرا وباطنا. He said, yes, of course I'm a wali of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, because I mention Allah with my sir, with my ruh, with my heart, with my tongue. That's why Allah make all my affairs easy. So if you're making zikr, and Shaykh Ibrahim said, the time you're making zikr, that particular time you are a wali of Allah. The time you're mentioning Allah, that time you are a wali. When you forget Allah, you are something else. So the more you mention Allah, the more you have wilayah. If you're able to mention Allah in all your action, make sure that Allah will mention you, of course. Because to be a wali of Allah is meant to be Allah's friend. Wali of Allah is Allah's friend. And Allah said, "Adhkuruni adhkurkum." Mention me, I mention you. So the time Allah mentioning you, that time you are a wali, you are Allah's friend, of course. Now if anybody has a letter from the mayor of the country, of the city, of the letter from the president, he will be proud of that. Oh, president wrote the letter for me. He will go around to show his friends. Proud of that. If you mention Allah, Allah will mention you. Allah said, if you mention Him by yourself, He will mention you by Himself. If you mention Him by congregation, it will mention you by the congregation better than your congregation. So the more you mention Allah, the more you come to be closer to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So Waliullah is the friend of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. It's those Allah mentioned in Quran, ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. Those, they follow Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. الذين آمنوا, they believe in Allah and they fear Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Those, they are the wali of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. People sometimes when they say wali, always they thinking about the, miracles. Of course, Allah gives the awliya some karamat, but the biggest karama for awliya of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, as what Shaykh Mahy Cisse said, is to follow Sirat al-Mustaqim, to be in the right way.
Can you explain Ihsan to us?
Ihsan, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he explained it. He is the best one who can explain it. He said, أما الإحسان أن تعبد الله كأنك ترى إن لم تكن ترى إنه يراك. Ihsan is worshiping Allah as you seeing Him. If you don't get to that, you worshiping Allah as He seeing you. So that means Ihsan is you do your action, making sure that Allah observing you. Because even in your work, if your supervisor give you some work and tell you do it, and you make sure that he looking at you or somebody watching you, and he gonna give a report to him, you do it in the better way. So Ihsan, we need Ihsan for every actions, because Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay." So Allah make Ihsan obligation for everything we doing. Even if you kill the animals, you have to do it in a nice way. You're dealing with the people, you have to do it in a nice way. Because if you show that Allah will observing you, what you do, and no way you can't do anything except you do it from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, front of Him, you do it in the nice way. That is Ihsan. So this is bring the Sufi people all what they need, all their competition to get to these levels, because mention Allah to the point that you seeing Him. Of course, if He said you worship Allah as you seeing Him, you show that Allah seeing you. Because if you can't see Allah, Allah seeing you. If you don't get to that point, at least you do what you do and know that Allah seeing you, that you do it in the better way. But no way you can make Ihsan until you do it in this way. You do it the way that Allah wants you to do. And you do it with the right niyyah. It's not just something you think that is good and do it. No, you have to do what Allah wants you to do. That is what Prophet ﷺ brought to us.
What should the student do in order to really benefit from their Shaykh?
To benefit from your Shaykh is to follow the way, because all what the Shaykh, what he got it to follow the way. The real Shaykh, one of the Shaykh Ibrahim's murid from Mauritania, Muhammad Lamin Jikani, he asked Shaykh Ibrahim, the Shaykhs and the murids. And Shaykh Ibrahim said, some of the Mashayikh, they are not Shaykh. If the Shaykh, all what he telling you to please you, if even if he want to correct you, you leave him, he will let you do everything you want to do because he just wants you to follow him. That is not a Shaykh. So he said, that's the Mashayikh, they worship their murid nafs. Some of them, they worship their own nafs. All what they say, tell murid, what make the murid to follow them. But the real Shaykh, if he talk, he remind you Allah. If he act, he will remind you Allah. You follow him, you reach to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala.
Can you tell us a little bit about
benefit of Sha'ban? Yes, Shahr Sha'ban, this month, before Ramadan, Prophet ﷺ, he used to fast in this month more than any other month, except Ramadan. That's why I say this now, Aisha, she said she used to pay the Ramadan, if he missed any days of Ramadan, he used to pay it in Sha'ban, because she know that the month's Prophet fasting and she don't want to fast and Prophet need her. So Prophet ﷺ himself, he said, Sha'ban in between Rajab and Ramadan. these 2 months, everybody know Rajab is great months because it's among Ashhurul Hurum. Everybody know also Ramadan is good months because it's the months of Quran, it's months of Ramadan. Everybody know about Ramadan. But he said people they forget about Sha'ban. So that's why he loved to fast in Sha'ban because they left the deed in Sha'ban. They record all the action in Sha'ban and left it to Allah Ta'ala. And Prophet ﷺ said he loves when they left his deed, his fasting. That's why he loved to fast in Sha'ban.
How do you develop real love between the Marids?
To Murid themselves? Yes, they have to know that to love the brother or sister's Murid is the part of loving Shaykh. Because if you love your Shaykh, you have to love his people. And you have to love each other because that is part of Iman. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. If you know it's a part of Iman, you will fight your nafs to have it the way you fight your nafs to get to the other level of Iman. So to love each other is part of Iman billahi tabarak wa ta'ala. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no one among you consider a believer until he loved for his brother what he loved for himself.
Imam Ali asked, what should we do more of and what should we do less of? What we should do more of and then what we
should do more of that what Allah commands us to do. And what we have to do less is what Allah forbids. So we have to follow the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The more we do it, the more we become stronger. And if we become stronger, Shaitan will never have a way to us. Because Allah said to Shaitan, Inna ibadi laysa laka alayhim sultan. My real servant, you don't have power on them. So we have to follow Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. We have to follow the commandment of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have to mention Allah a lot. That's what Allah said. اذكر الله ذكرا كثيرا.
Second, you make a dua for us.
اللهم ارنا الاجابه عنا في انفسنا وفي اهلنا وذرياتنا واصحابنا وخدامنا واحبابنا وانصارنا من حضر من الجميع وغاب وزدنا واعتنا وانفعنا ودافع عنا واحفظنا وسدد امورنا ورحب دارنا وقلوبنا واجعل خير ايامنا يوم لقائك واسترنا بسترك الجميل وامنا بلطفك الجليل وفضلك الجميل. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما اغلق خاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي الى صراطك المستقيم وعلى اله حق المقدار العظيم. صلاة تفتح لنا بها ابواب الرضا والتيسير وتغلق بها عنا ابواب الشر والتعسير وكنا بها وليا ونصيرا. انت ولينا ومولانا نعم المولى ونعم النصير. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.
شكرا شيخ.
بارك الله فيك.